Hello everybody. So myself Gururaj, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, MIT Mysore. So welcome back to green building. So in last class, we discussed regarding what is green building and what is the greenhouse gas emission, then carbon footprints, why carbon footprints are developed, or generation of carbon footprints, or the milestone behind that carbon footprints, then effect of greenhouse gas emission, then causes of greenhouse gas emission. That part we discussed in detail. Okay. So in continuation with that, so the next important bit is embodied energy in materials. So the name itself says embodied energy. Embodied energy is nothing but it is the total energy required for the extraction, processing, manufacture and deliver of building materials to the building sites. So we can observe in this case, so it starts from the extraction level. For example, if you are willing to buy quartz aggregate or bricks for your buildings, so that is our aim. So bricks are the building materials now. So these building materials, that is bricks or stones or cement, we can imagine any building materials. Okay, for example, bricks, starting from the extraction of the main materials required for building the blocks or manufacturing of those blocks. So bricks require clay, locally available clay of good quality, then some admixtures, it might be mineral admixtures or chemical admixtures or some super plasticizers which are required, if that depends on the type of block you are supposed to manufacture. So initially, if for example clay, so first it starts with the extraction of clay. First we are supposed to decide the site, location, where you are supposed to extract the materials. We need to execute the the extraction process or excavation with the proper planning. So for excavation of that earth or other material require some energy. It might be huge tools and plants, or it might be manpower, whatever you can imagine. So starting from the extraction, so to extract the materials, it requires some energy. So it in turn consists of fuels, then manpower, labors, machineries, equipments, then tools and plants, and so on, just to extract it. So after extraction, we need to process it. Directly we can't able to use the materials for manufacturing. So we need to process it. For processing, once again, it consumes some energies, directly or indirectly. Yes or no? Minimum to maximum. While doing processing, for example, bricks, if I took example of a brick, so once the clay is get extracted, we need to remove the debris matters, we need to remove the inorganic matters, then trees, plants, shrubs, etc., we need to remove it from that clay. Then we need to process it by sprinkling water on the surface. We need to first initially spread it on all the ground, so with the specified thickness, and so on. And we should not supposed to, if time permits, if you retain that entire earth for the longer duration, so there is a chances of development of some small plants, yes or no. So that also we need to take into considerations. So at the time of manufacturing bricks, we need to take care of all these points while extracting as well as while doing processing. So at the time of processing, we are supposed to add some mineral admixtures. For example, if you are supposed to mix other cementitious materials or other pozzolanic materials, for example, fly ash, we are supposed to mix with the proper proportion. We are supposed to mix with some silica fume, rice ash, bagasse ash. So these are all the byproducts available from market, from industries. So we need to distribute these materials. So these materials extractions also require some energy, yes or no? And at the same time spreading all these things on the surface, that also require energy. So that is processing of that clay for manufacturing of blocks or bricks. So once the process is over, then we need to manufacture it. So while doing manufacturing, we need to prepare the molds, Yes or no? Whether it's a hand molded bricks or table mounted bricks or machine molded bricks or wire cut bricks. Nowadays we are using some German technology to manufacture the bricks. So there is no human intervention in manufacturing of bricks or blocks, so that we can get a good shapes with proper edges blocks. Yes or no? So while manufacturing, we are supposed to prepare the blocks or molds. Then we need to apply some oil or grease or some type of material, so that it should not supposed to stick on the surface. Then we need to prepare those molds. Then we need to take those clay particles or entire clay materials, yes or no, which is ready to prepare the blocks, yes or with the proper water cement ratio, right. We need to apply it in a layer by layer, yes or no. If it's of hand molded, if it's of table molded, we are supposed to use some other equipments to make it level, to make it compact. We need to use some compactors. If it's completely machine molded, we need to depend on machineries, yes or no. So that also requires some sort of energy, yes or no. It might be electrical energy, I can say. It might be cost. Cost is also of course one of the major energy, one of the major resource, I can say, yes or no. So manufacturing, then delivery of that particular building material to the site, yes or no. So while doing transportation also, it consumes certain energy, like conveyor belts we are supposed to use, that those belts are in turn fitted to machines, yes or no. So those machines require some fuels or some electricity, that also treated as energy, yes or no. So to the site, so starting from the extraction of soil nearby your industry, okay, preparing it, molding it, compacting it, then cure it, has to give some temperature, we need to dry it, yes or no, by natural processes or by using artificial or by using equipments or huge machineries, yes or no. Then those blocks are ready to construct, then we need to deliver it. Apart from that, once you are delivered to the site, but if there are certain floors we are supposed to construct, ground, first, second, so on, once again we need to shift those materials to your locations. If the wall is supposed to be considered or constructed at ground first floor or second floor, we are supposed to convey those bricks to second floor. That also require some delivery equipments, yes or no, belts or hoisting equipments, yes or no. So all these comes under embodied energy. So it's an inbuilt energy. So every material, we can imagine any building material, whether it's a direct, will have a direct approach or indirect approach, yes or no. So all these materials have certain energy consumptions, starting from the extractions to the delivery. So that energy we can call it as embodied energy. We can imagine plastic, which has certain embodied energy inside. We can imagine glass, cement, fiber, steel, any building materials we can imagine. So all these materials require embodied energy, yes or no. So energy consumption produces CO2, of course, right. While extracting or while producing those materials, of course they exhibit certain CO2. While burning fossil fuels, it exhibits CO2, yes or no. If we are supposed to extract it while doing earthwork excavation, if the vehicle, or if it depends on some heavy equipments, yes or no, those heavy equipments are fitted to electricity or petrol or diesel engines. So that also removes CO2, yes or no. So at the same time, why we need to observe? At the time, see here, we need to observing greenhouse gas emission concept as well as embodied energy, yes or no. If we are depends on these sort of machineries to extract the materials or to transport the materials, then once again greenhouse gas emission seems to be more, yes or no. So we need to depends on some traditional methodology, some ancient methodology, where the consumption of materials is one part. Apart from that, usage of those equipments or heavy machineries, that also you are trying to minimize, yes or no. So these production of CO2 which contributes to greenhouse gas emission. So embodied energy is considered an indicator of the overall environmental impact of building materials and systems. So embodied energy is once again reason behind carbon emission, some sort of, not 100% we can say, and at the same time we can imagine, we can consider the reality also, without transportations or without depends on these types of equipments, of course the work may not complete as you decided or as we planned. Yes or no? So, directly or indirectly we have to depend on machineries, because in ancient days they were supposed to construct one small building if they are planned to construct. So, probably they may require 10 years to finish it. Yes or no? But in today's scenario, at present, within 10 months probably, even less than that, we can finish skyscrapers, multi-story buildings, apartments, huge mega structures. Within a year, within 2 years, within 2 years we can finish mega structures. The only reason behind that is the usage of these kinds of heavy equipments in industry. So, we are using some robotic technologies, already it is in practice. Yes or no? So, robotic technology in construction activities, we have heavy hoisting equipments, lifting equipments, so that they can lift the equipments or materials, even we can't imagine tons together lifting capacity of those materials, or of lifting capacity are there in the present day. So, all these requirements are only because of to speed up the project and to minimize the natural resources, as well as to minimize the cost, because cost is one of the most important criteria for any such structures. Yes or no? Cost as well as safety. If cost and safety, that is economy and safety, if we are masters or if we have grip on these two, then the structure become infrastructure. Yes or no? So, the total amount of embodied energy may account for 20% of the building energy use. So, as statistics says that the total amount of embodied energy may account for 20% of the building energy use. So, reducing embodied energy can significantly reduce the overall impact or environmental impact of the building. So, here what we need to concentrate is we need to minimize the embodied energy. Just now we have discussed regarding embodied energy of a material, starting from the extractions to the delivery. If any such place, if you have planned to minimize the energy consumption, whether it is internally or externally, directly or indirectly, or whatever the way, is there any chances to minimize the energy? Let us apply that kind of technique, so that we are the embodied energy is minimizing, in turn the carbon emission also get minimized. Yes or no? This is how green buildings are taken into considerations. Then embodied energy is measured as the quantity of non-renewable energy per unit of building materials. Of course, always this embodied energy is measured in terms of megajoules or gigajoules per unit weight or per unit area, either the energy per unit weight or the energy per unit area, the megajoules per square meter or megajoule per kg or quintal ton, whatever, depends on the type of work or the nature of work you are extracting. But the process of calculating embodied energy is complex and involves numerous sources of data. You can imagine. So, embodied energy calculation is not so easy, because if you have a direct equation to calculate any such outputs, so that we will have some inputs and we will get some outputs. But embodied energy is something like there are so many unforeseen activities that get involved in all these processes. Yes or no? While doing extraction, if the methodology, the extracting methodology differs from one to another, automatically the cost will going to vary, the energy consumptions will going to vary. Yes or no? So, we should always plan in such a way that what type of technique you are supposed to adopt. Yes or no? With that constraints, your embodied energy depends. So, it requires numerous data to be collected for each and every activities. It might be manufacturing process of material, it might be the processing of that materials to the next level, because some property, some materials are of this kind, they may not directly ready to serve the purpose. Yes, sir. Just now we took example of bricks. Okay, so clay, of course, clay we are not necessary to do some activities to that clay to make which is safe or good for construction activities, because we know depends on the type of clay or depends on the type of materials, type of soil, we can decide which soil is suitable for construction of or manufacturing of blocks. Yes or no? But if we are thinking about the green building concepts, for example, thermal proofing materials, so they require some kind of different activities get involved in preparation of one particular material. Yes or no? For example, a plywood. Here normal sawwood or sawdust may not sufficient.